You're listening to the Show We Go Baseball podcast.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome into episode 34 of To The Show We Go. We have a full house today. We got Chris Henrique, we got Jamie Gatlin, we got myself, Andrew Parker. We're joined today by another member of the Red Sox system. We got Alex Binelas. And Alex, before we'll dive into some baseball things in a bit, but I know we were just kind of talking off air a bit about, what kind of things you've been up to, but I guess just how's the offseason been and what kind of stuff, I guess, have you been up to for the people at home?
Yeah, I mean, first off, thanks for having me. Pleasure being here. But off season, typical things, visiting friends and family. You're gone playing the season. From spring training to the end of the season. It's it's close to 9 months you're away from home and not seeing your friends. My parents will come out and see me, but my aunts, uncles, cousins, grandparents. It's just great to see family. So spending quality family time. Obviously, in the weight room, trying to get better, preparing for next season. And then I'm a big hunter, so I've been in the woods a lot. That's my getaway of, put the phone away, go up to the cabin. My grandpa, he basically lives up there during hunting season. So spend time with him. And then I shot a nice buck a week and a half ago. So it paid off, and it was a good hunting year. And just, chilling and enjoying, time off before the grind starts again.
When was the last buck before this one?
2021 was the last one. Yeah. I've let a lot of nice bucks go. I've been, lucky that, this is my profession and I get the off season where I can hunt a lot now. But, when I was in college and high school, you're shooting any deer that walks in front of you because you can only hunt so many times throughout the year. And now it's like, I want to go up on a, Tuesday afternoon. I can go up there, So, I've been letting a lot of, nice deer that I would have shot in the past go. And, finally a nice one walked out in front of me a couple weeks ago and let it have it.
Yeah, no, that's good to hear. It's, and I guess also you're back home in Wisconsin for the off season.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Milwaukee.
Sure, there's some good spots up in Wisconsin compared to probably the Northeast, I would assume. But
yeah,
well, I guess Massachusetts, but yeah.
I was gonna say there's a few good. I mean, I don't hunt.
Yeah.
There's a few good spots out this way.
Yeah, I mean, in Maine,
yeah,
the whole summer in Maine, it's beautiful up there. There's a lot of forests and whatnot, and you always see that. They got bear, all moose. We don't have moose here. They got all that big game stuff up there, but yeah, it's nice because we got 160 acres that we can hunt on up here, all private land. So it's pretty nice.
Yeah, not bad. Yeah, it's I was mostly talking about, I guess, the Boston area and the surrounding.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're not going to really come into, but up in I'm in New Hampshire now, so I know up north there are some good spots. But so speaking of Portland, and you just spent the 2023 season in Portland. How did that go for you? I guess, what were your takeaways from playing in Portland this year?
Yeah, I mean, first off, I love the city, city and fans. We play on the road and we go somewhere else and, they got maybe 1,000 people in the stands and, we're selling out every Friday, Saturday, Sunday, for the most part, pretty dang close. And so, the fan base was awesome, getting to play in front of, I think it was, 4,000 or 5,000 people they were packing that place with when it was sold out. And then, that's awesome because you don't get that on the road or any other place in our league. So that was special. Obviously right on the ocean, just beautiful place. But, team wise, it's like, you look who we had in that locker room. I'm not even going to name all the guys we had in there because I'm going to miss someone and they're going to get mad at me. They'll text me. But, all the big name guys we got in there. And the best part about it was we're all brothers. At the end of the year, we were genuinely sad that we were leaving each other. We're not going to see each other for spring training. And, who knows with trades and Rule 5s and whatnot. And, we might never see that person again. And so we really got pretty close in that locker room, which made it fun. And you know, we were winning ball games too. And, you know, we didn't make the playoffs, but it's like, you know, we took second, I think both halves, you know, we were winning ball games, which made it fun and whatnot. And all of us living in the same apartment, you know, hanging out after the games and, you know, obviously great coaching staff, support staff that would roll through there. You know, I loved it. It was a really fun season. It was one of the most fun baseball seasons I think I've ever had in my life. And that just goes to who was in that locker room and the coaching staff and who we were around every day. Because, you know, you're there for 6-7 months. You better like the people around you, right? So
yeah.
we made it a family, and it was pretty fun. It was a special season.
And I was gonna follow up on it before we shoot to you, Jamie, but I heard Caleb Hamilton in Worcester say that exact same thing in the very last game. He's like, "This was the most fun I had like for a season." That's a guy that's spent some time in the majors too. So I guess my question though is, you saw a lot of guys go up to Worcester. You know, obviously like you had Koss, a bunch of pitchers, Rafaela, a ton of guys that Corey Rozier towards the end of the year, Dearden. I mean, a ton of guys ended up coming up, but then you also saw guys come up from Greenville. Mm-hmm. So how, you know, you guys stayed so close to the end, but like, obviously there was a shift at some point because you guys were losing some guys at AAA, you were gaining some of the younger guys. So like, how did that balance work itself out?
Yeah, I mean, it's just, you know, new guys coming up, you always accept them with open arms, you know, try to make them as comfortable as possible because it is a big change. And especially, you know, for, you know, Latin-born players who don't speak the best English, you know, making sure those guys feel welcome too, because it's a change, I mean, for everyone. And so it's making sure that, you know, they feel welcome, feel safe, like you're not being somewhere where you're not supposed to be. Like they belong in that locker room with us, and making sure that they believe that. Because, you know, you come up and you're like, you know, you have thoughts running through your head of, oh, like, I don't want to step on anyone's toes. Like, I'm new here. Like, nobody should ever feel that when you step into a new locker room. And I think, you know, the guys on the team made that clear for like day one for whoever walked in the locker room. It was like, you're here now. You're one of us. Like let's go, you know, have fun, win ball games and do it together. You know, there's no stepping on anyone's toes or anything like that. So it's making them feel safe and comfortable that first day.
Yeah. When you guys weren't at the stadium, what were some of your favorite spots to go in Portland?
Yeah. So downtown, obviously there's a lot of places to go with all the seafood places and whatnot. I'm not a big seafood guy, so I struggled a little bit trying to find a place that like had a burger or like pasta or something like that. But my favorite spot was the Porthole downtown. It's like right on the water like that. They got live music on Friday, Saturday nights, and they had a good burger and fries. So I had something to eat while everyone else was eating seafood. Everyone's making fun of me, but yeah, I like the Porthole because it was right on the water. There's like a little inlet right there, and it was just a, you know, a chill, cool vibe to go, you know, after games or like after a Sunday day game and you got the next day off, you know, just chill with the guys and just have fun, you know, kind of forget about baseball for a little bit.
Yeah.
Did you guys happen to hit up Bubba's at all while you're up there?
Bubba's? No, I did not, but I heard a lot of people talking about that.
It's a good when next year you're there, it is an awesome spot. It's hot as hell in there. There's like no AC. It's kind of like a long building, multiple like different rooms. They got a dance floor that, you know, it lights up. It's a pretty wild experience. I went up there for a bachelor party. After a couple of cocktails. I don't usually dance, but I own that dance floor. Dude, we had the jump rope going on. We did the jump rope in the middle of it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, you got to hit Bubba's. Bubba's a cool spot. It's cash only too. But
okay. Yeah. The other one I liked was the big boat. I think it was like DeMillo's, I think it was, or D'Amelio's.
Yeah.
That was a good one. That was a good spot too.
All right, Jamie, sorry if we were cutting you off, but
anytime I can talk about Bubba's, Jamie, I like to.
The Bubba's love. Mine was just, where would Portland rank in all the minor league cities that you've been in?
Yeah, I mean, like you talking about like visiting too, like not just ones I've like lived in. Yeah, visiting. It's up there. I mean, number one for me was Greenville. Like the high that we got, unbelievable. That city, the stadium, that was my all-time favorite, you know, city I've ever played in, road or home. Portland's up there. I liked Hartford. I like playing in Hartford because that stadium, it's like a mini big league stadium. We're calling it, like our locker room and the tunnels and whatnot. It was just a lot different than the places we were playing at normally. So I like going to Hartford. Also, the ball kind of flew there, so I enjoyed it being a hitter at that park. I'd say it's in the top 5. Portland's in the top 5. I really enjoyed it, and the field, it's just like super unique because it's so old. There's not much, renovations that they've done to it, and I think that having that feel and obviously being there for half the season, play half our games there, that was pretty special. Obviously with the green monster and left, in the stands, like my parents didn't like it, but there's no shade, there's no covering. It's just bleachers. It's super old school, and I think it just like having that unique setting and feeling to it, it ranks in the top 5 for sure.
Did you did anybody give you any I guess tell you what it's like playing in Worcester with at Polar Park?
No, not yet, but watching the videos and watching my buddies play when obviously we're not playing, I'll watch the game live and whatnot, but it looks like a pretty cool park, and can't wait to play there soon. But yeah, that place looks sick.
I was gonna say I don't know who it was. It might have been Christopher Troy. He does throw a lot of stuff out there on social media.
Yeah, he does.
That's an understatement, but I think he may have posted like a photo or something in the clubhouse, and it looks completely different. I feel like they did such a good job in Worcester of really getting the vibe of like a big league clubhouse. Obviously it's pretty new, so
yeah.
But I feel like I heard somebody say that. I don't remember if it may have been Caleb Hamilton or somebody else that was there, and we're like, yeah, this is pretty close to the major league style. So, but yeah,
I think to your point though, like the Red Sox have done a really good job though, as they're cascading that down through the system to give you guys that feel of being at the big league level. Who do we talk to? Was it in the last couple of days? Might have been Joe Jakes, where he was saying like when he was in Indianapolis, there was no media, and with Worcester, it was Andrew and I, and there was maybe like 3 or 4 others. Not like we're not down your throat like how it is up at Fenway. You know what I mean? We give you, like, personally, Andrew and I would give our space to you guys, stuff along those lines. But we'd also try to, interact with the players, kind of give you that same feel. Hey, you're going to get called up at some point, and they're going to ask you some of this stuff. Did you get any sort of, what was the media presence like for you guys in Portland? Did you get any sort of interaction with people on a regular basis, or was it just when rehabbers are there, et cetera?
Yeah, you kind of hit the nail on the head with the rehabbers there. Once those rehabbers came through, it was, it was like Christmas Day. Everyone was there, and which rightfully so, because it was pretty cool. And I'm going to sidetrack here. Like when those guys come in, they're great. It's awesome being with those guys. Obviously there's an age difference from most of the guys that come through. Our team was 21, 22, 23, 24-year-olds, and these guys, a little bit older than that, but they're one of us for that week or 2 days, whatever it was. It was awesome. And they bought us the meals and whatnot when they came through, and they talked. They're open to talk, willing to share their knowledge of anything that you would ask. You can ask any question, they wouldn't roll their eyes, or big league it was a pretty cool like setting to be in when they would roll through, and it was a great learning experience for all of us. But yeah, the media would be there a lot when those guys were there, but there really wasn't anyone in our locker room. I'd say not much in the locker room. Some guys would roll through, but not much. If anyone really wanted to talk to us, it was more of they would let Emma, our announcer, know, and they'd like meet us in the dugout or something. But there wasn't too much of that around. Obviously, when Marcelo and Roman Anthony came up, guys like that, there was a lot of media presence that first day when they got there. Blaze too. So it was cool, and obviously watching those guys grow because they're so young, and watching those guys handle answering questions and having the camera, always on those guys and how they handled it at such a young age. It was pretty cool to see.
We had Roman on the podcast maybe about a week and a half ago. Well, and to me, like my first impression, he's 19, but dude was just like polished. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Dialed in on baseball. What was your, reaction, thoughts on Roman Anthony and just like your takeaways in the time you get to play with him?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, all those guys are super mature, and I think that's credit to the Boston Red Sox and the staff that we have here. Developing us and teaching us how to handle, handle the media, handle coming up to a certain level, just how you handle yourself as a person, not even really a player. It's how you handle yourself when you're not Roman Anthony, the baseball player. I think the Red Sox, you got to credit our great support staff with that. But yeah, he's super smart. Like, you talk with him, you watch him play, you watch him move on the field, you watch how confident he is. There's not a thought that goes to your head and says, oh yeah, that's a 19-year-old. Like, no chance you would ever think that. He was fun to be around, especially off the field, because then, off the field you get away and then you start seeing that 19-year-old side of him come out, and it's pretty funny. But yeah, he's a great kid, and it's going to be fun to watch him grow here throughout the next couple of years.
I was kind of looking just at your season this past year, and it seems like you really started to hit a stride. I guess once I'm sure in Portland, well, you're used to it because you're a Wisconsin guy, but
yeah,
I know it was pretty chilly at the beginning of the season, especially up in Maine. But I feel like you kind of heated up once June hit and July came. You seemed to be swinging a pretty hot bat, but I guess what was the difference for you, I guess, as you got into the summertime?
Yeah, I mean, early in the year, obviously, it was not warm outside. I strained my quad, I strained my hamstring, a month apart, had to miss, 9 games apiece with that. And, couldn't really get in a rhythm. Kind of made some, swing adjustments over the off season, and they weren't really clicking. And, my dad's going to love this. My dad, he was, my biggest supporter, biggest hitting coach growing up. And he's watching video of me, and he's like, what do you think about, your hands coming close to your body? Because that was one of the changes I made in the offseason, pushed my hands away from my body, and, went over with our hitting coordinators and whatnot. And I thought it would be a good idea. We all thought it'd be a good idea to kind of give me some more freedom, because I'm a tight guy, bigger guy. Yeah, gives me more space to be athletic if they're away from my body. So I put away from my body. I developed a bigger leg kick, just trying to mash baseballs. My dad goes, well, what do you think about bringing your hands closer and, lowering your leg kick? Because you show me videos of, when I was swinging it really well in years past, and then what I'm doing now, and it doesn't even look like the same hitter in the box. So, talked about it with our hitting coaches, hitting coordinators, whatever, when they come into town, and like, hey, like, this is kind of what I want to do, watching video. And it came from my dad, best hitting coach in the world. He's watched me take a million bajillion swings in my life, and, kind of made those adjustments, got healthy, didn't have any of that nagging injuries going on, and, got in the swing of things, and the weather heated up, and so did the bat. It was a good thing. And, I was proud of it, because I struggled. There was a point where, like, out of 30 at-bats, I struck out 24 times. Like, that's just not me. And there was something going on there, and I couldn't figure it out. And being able to, push through that and not shut down mentally, I think that was, one of my, looking back on all my accomplishments of my baseball career from 12 years old till now, I'd rank, me overcoming that adversity up there, and not, just shutting down when I was batting 70 or whatever it was, like literally under 100, going into May, just really struggling and pushing through and finishing the season really strong. And, once you finish that season strong, it makes it easier in the off season to, all right, like, let's carry this, like, let's keep going. Like, we're not slowing down now. So, I was really proud of that. And this, obviously this off season, we're almost a month and a half in now. It's been really good so far of, all the workouts I'm doing and being motivated, almost being obsessed, like I watch David Goggins videos a lot and, reading some books and whatnot. And, I'm like obsessed right now of, trying to get better and making sure that what I felt mentally and physically, what I felt in the box and, going home at night, trying to figure out what the heck was going on. Like, I never want to feel that feeling again. So like, every time I walk into the hitting facility, the weight room, no matter what it is, it's like, it's in the back of my head of, I never want to like feel that ever again. And I'm not going to allow myself to do that. So I think going through that is going to help me in the future for sure. And it's something I'm proud of moving forward.
I think you might be the second guy that come on this offseason that has talked about David Goggins. I think Nazan Zanatello also said he's a huge fan, and that he's been reading a bunch of his stuff, watching a bunch of his stuff. But then to follow up on that though, so with when you were going through the cold streak and, you were kind of in your own head and you just couldn't figure it out. What I've heard a ton of good things on, even just in these 34 episodes, of the coaching staff there in Portland and how much Epi is like, the man. Like, I've never met the guy, never talked to the guy. I could tell you how great Chad Tracy is, but I've just never met Chad Epperson. So yeah. What was the support like while you were going through that tough stretch, like from Epi and the rest of the coaching staff?
Yeah, I mean, they were great. And you said it, he's the man. Epi's the man. Never did I walk into that clubhouse like fearing, oh man, he's going to jump me, or man, he's going to, say something to me like, hey, like, what's going on? Like, you got to be better, something like that. Because he knows, he played the game and he sees, what I was doing in the weight room, what I was doing, with the hitting coaches in the tunnels. Like, I wasn't just folding and, like I said, just giving up mentally and, all right, whatever, the season's over. We're halfway through the year and I'm hitting this, it's over, throw it in. Like, he saw, I'm working at this and it's gonna change. And they're just very supportive and, talking with me of what do I feel? What am I feeling? Not even physically, like what do I feel when I step in the box? Like how you mentally, like, they'd ask, how's your family? You talk to any buddies back home. It was like, they really cared about me, the baseball player, but me, the person. And, it was awesome. And, the whole support staff there, from the strength coaches to the trainers, to everyone that was in that clubhouse. It was, everyone has each other's back, kind of like what I talked about before. And I've never felt that in a clubhouse before. And we're in AA and in the minor leagues, and we're all fighting for the same, spots and dreams and whatnot. And, in reality, everyone's competing against each other and at the end of the day, but you never felt that once. And, even the teammates, everyone, we all had each other's back and they all had mine. And that helped a lot. And, like I said earlier in the podcast, it was a pretty special year just because of the people in that locker room and the coaching staff.
It's absolutely crazy, man. We've interviewed guys in Greenville. We interview guys, your teammates in Portland this year. We've interviewed guys in Worcester, and it's like that's like been like the same thing. It's just been,
and you don't hear that much in the minor leagues. You don't hear about team this, team that in the minor leagues. Everyone kind of what I hear is everyone's doing their own thing. Making sure that they're ready. Not too worried about the guy sitting in the locker next to them, because at the end of the day, it's your career. You got to make it happen. But here, I mean, it was unbelievable. I mean, even in the locker room at Louisville when I was at college, we're competing for a national championship, and nobody's trying to get a spot at the Louisville A team, whatever. There's no moving up or down. We're all fighting for the same goal and win a national championship. And this locker room was way better than that one, and we're in AA. And so that was pretty cool. It was pretty cool to see.
It's definitely a testament, I think, to the leadership that's at each level, man. Because I mean, from Iggy to Chad to both Chads, with Chad Tracy and Epperson both, it's like I feel like you just hear the same thing all around. So it's pretty cool. But speaking of Epi, though, are you did you get a chance to get into that fantasy football league?
No. So they were doing the draft one night, and I couldn't. They were doing it in the locker room, and I had a different draft that night, so I couldn't make it. I wanted to, but I did not, sadly.
Are you in the other league with like Dobbins and a few other guys?
No. So that's the pitchers one.
Okay.
So they have a pitchers one, and then we have a hitters one. It's like me, Nico's in it, Max Ferguson's in it, like Nick Decker, a bunch of guys from all over, just guys that we've played with, that get moved up and whatnot from spring training. Bunch of guys in that league, and it's a dynasty league, so you really got to lock in. You got to really lock in that league, and two quarterbacks, and of course, I have Ryan Tannehill as my backup, who got booted by Will Levis, and then I had Kirk Cousins as my quarterback too, and obviously you know what that happened, so I don't have another quarterback, so I'm struggling. But I might just tank for a high round pick next year. We'll see. But I'm struggling right now.
Yeah, land Caleb Williams in the next draft. All right, you'll be good. Jamie, I'm sorry, I was hogging it from you.
You're good. Yeah, you guys had me think about the Patriots for a little bit, so I had like 5 seconds of depression there. My next one was just how has each level that you've played at challenged you, and what adjustments have you had to make as you've moved closer to the majors?
Yeah, I mean, definitely, I would say the pitchers stuff, like the metrics on their pitches, and it's not just one pitch where you start in low A. Okay, he's got a good fastball, but you can only throw that one for a strike, and you can eliminate everything else, and you're just sitting on a good fastball, or he can't locate the fastball, but he can locate a changeup well, and you're okay, I'm just gonna hunt that, right? So then you hit that, and you move up, and you get to high A, and then you get some guys, you face, it's a mix. Some guys are still kind of in that boat, and then you get the guys that are, they can locate 3 pitches now as a starter, right? And their metrics on those pitches are above average, and they can locate it. And now you got 3. And then, once you get to double A, the starters, now you're looking at 4, 5. Some guys got 6 elite pitches that they're throwing for strikes. And I think that's the difference of there's no hitters counts anymore, right? So there's no 3-1, oh, I'm getting a heater here. Like in double A, that went away. It was, they know much more about you, because once you get to double A, obviously there's a lot more scouting report on the pitcher, but also on yourself as a hitter. So they know where your cold zones are, what pitches you can't handle, what locations. So I think the scouting reports get better, obviously, the more games you've had under your belt. And the pitchers obviously get better. The competition gets better. The game speeds up. It's just a much cleaner game. I'd say there's no more easy at bats. It's everyone's got a plus pitch, and then they got another, above average pitch or 2 or 3 behind it. And I difference in double A, it's, you get a plus pitch, and then you get another plus 2 pitches after that.
That is interesting to hear from a hitter's side, because we had Grant Gambrell on a few episodes ago, and he was a guy that had been at 3 different levels this year. He started in Greenville, went up to Portland, and got to Worcester, and he was kind of telling us, he was like, in Greenville, like in high A, you could kind of just throw your pitches over the plate, and you're not going to get as much trouble. But then once you get a little closer, just from a pitcher side thing, it's like you can't miss your spots. Once you get to Worcester, you're facing guys that have been in the big league. So definitely interesting from the hitter side of things, like on what adjustments you got to make. So
right, and yeah, that's what a lot of the pitchers say. It's you leave a pitch over the heart of the plate. Like that's another thing. You don't see many pitches over the heart of the plate. Everyone's trying to nibble the corners, whatever. But when you do get that one over the plate, you don't see that often. The ball looks that big when it comes over the plate, because you just don't see it that often. But at the same time, you still got to hit it. It's still baseball. So we always would talk crap to the pitchers, like, yeah, we can't leave over anything like the heart of the plate here. Like, it gets hit, and we're like, oh, boo-hoo. We get out 7 out of 10 times. We're a Hall of Famer. Boo-hoo. So it's always always good arguments like that in the locker room.
Are you something that you haven't had to experience yet for a full season, but do you have any like thoughts on the like getting towards AAA and having a smaller strike zone, and with the ABS having a smaller strike zone? Like, have you kind of like done any thinking about it, or like is it going to change your approach at all?
I mean, it definitely makes you feel a little better as a hitter, knowing that you're gonna not get screwed on a call here or there or whatnot. That zone does shrink, and it's the same thing as you move up levels. The umpires get a little better at each level, but having that, I haven't really thought too much into it, or thinking about changing anything or anything like that. But it definitely is something that I'm interested in seeing how it works, because I've never played in a game with anything like that before. So it's definitely something interesting, and I'm looking forward to learn more about it as that time comes.
Yeah, the challenge system was pretty cool when they implemented that in there. Just you get the pitcher, the catcher, and the hitter, the only three that could go ahead and challenge. And you see like the batter would tap the helmet. It's an interesting dynamic. I don't know if it's something that'll ever make it to the majors.
Yeah,
but it is. When you're there, you see it firsthand. We got to talk to the umpires, I think, the first night, and just kind of got their perspective on it, of just, still how they got to be in tune with what's going on in the game. They have to, like they got to catch what's going on in the ear. And when they're not, if that was to fail, they're the backup at that point. So it is, it's an interesting concept. The only thing, and I actually want to ask you, because with some of the news that just came out the last 24 hours with, the pitch clock maybe going from 20 seconds down to 18 seconds. I know the pitchers, even Chris Murphy came on social media, he wasn't a fan of that. What would be your thoughts on if there's a change with the pitch clock and the time? Is that good for you guys in general? I don't care about the game. I think it's more for you guys.
Yeah. So they're saying about giving us less time. Is that what it is?
From 20 seconds down to 18.
With runners on base, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, 18 is still a lot, right? Because when there's no one on, you get, for us, it was 14, I think it was. And as a hitter, I think it sped us up more than the pitcher, to be honest. Because you're getting in that box. I couldn't tell you how many times the umpire's like, get in the box, look up, get in the box, look up, And, you can't take a deep breath. Like, let's say I swing out a breaking ball in the dirt, like terrible pitch. Everyone does it. Terrible pitch. Like, I just want a second to collect my thoughts, and obviously you're super angry at the time. Like, you got to take a deep breath. Like, you got to let that go. Well, I got 4 seconds to do so, because I got to be looking up by 9 seconds, right? And if I had already used my time that at bat, like, I got to get in there, else, it's probably strike 3. So I think as a hitter, it messes it, with the hitter just as much as the pitcher, trying to get that pitch delivered. I don't know. I think it was fine with what we had. I think it sped up the game tremendously. Like, I'm a fan of it. I think, the pace of play was tremendous. But the more that you start tinkering with it now, and, lowering the time and whatnot, I think you're starting to mess with how guys operate. Mm-hmm. And, guys already made an adjustment, obviously doing it, the pitch clock this year and whatnot. And now you're making an adjustment where guys have to adapt to that again. And I don't think guys are going to really like that, having to change a second time, practice, change something a second time. So that could raise some guys' attention. At the end of the day, you just got to control what you can control, right? Like,
sure.
For me, it's, give me 2 seconds. Okay. There's nothing I can do about it. Right. So just control what you can control, but it's definitely going to raise, attention for some guys who obviously, like, pitchers, we like making fun of pitchers, how they got all their different routines they do. They, lick their fingers, grab the rosin, whatever. And it's like, all right, now you're taking 2 seconds away. They're going to have to change their routine. Same thing with hitters. They adjust their batting gloves, deep breath, whatever, visualize. Now you're making them change the routine. So I don't know. I think some guys are going to get frustrated at it.
So I'm going to switch lanes here. I'm assuming you're a big Louisville football guy. You've probably been watching a few of the games.
I've been watching. I wouldn't say I'm a huge fan, but I've been watching.
Okay. Well, then I was going to ask, like, the college football playoffs, obviously you guys are undefeated. I think
we got one loss, right?
One loss. You're in the top 10 at least. Yeah. So, and I saw my Mizzou Tigers did just jump Louisville in the college football playoff rankings. But I was going to say, I didn't know if you were actually glued to it and you were going to be like thinking you guys had a chance, or like, I guess, what were your thoughts on the football team at all? But.
Yeah. I mean, it's awesome because obviously we got the new coach that came in, kind of changed the culture around, but it's just good for the university, right? I love talking to. I still got friends on the baseball team, and they say it's just a good vibe on campus, right? When the team's good. Like when I was there, the football team wasn't great, right? So it's like different vibes. Like Saturdays, there's it wasn't as packed. Now they're saying like, dude, this is insane. Like selling out every Saturday or whenever they're playing. Vibes are great. Like it's just good for the university, good for everyone around. So it's cool to see. So the last time they're really good was Lamar Jackson when he was doing his thing there. So I think it's just really good for the university. Obviously love it there. Had a great 3 years. So just seeing how well it is impacting the university, not just the baseball team, but, just student athletes, everyone in general. So it's pretty cool to see. But if I keep talking football, I'm going to talk about my Packers. It's not fun to watch.
What's your
can't really do anything, man?
What's your thoughts on Jordan Love? Do you think he's the guy? Where do you stand on that?
I think you got to give him a little more time. Obviously, first year starting. We got the youngest team in the NFL. We got a lot of young. You look at all of our penalties. We're just young, and so I'm not worried. We got a very talented group. I love our coach. A lot of people are, saying fire Matt LaFleur. Like, you can't do that, man. He's got the youngest team in the NFL. NFL is a different beast. Those guys up there, it's insane. You just gotta let these guys grow up and learn from their mistakes.
Yeah, you got Watson, Dobbs, Reed. It's a great trio.
Right.
I had Watson. I dealt him. Not in one of my, unlike the Bradfield League that we were in last year. I sucked at that, and I talked a good game ahead of time. But in my main league that I'm in right now, 9-1, sniffing 10-1. So
I forgot about that. You guys were in that league together.
We were.
I wish I had that.
Well, I was gonna say that two things to follow up on that. Does it hurt your soul a little bit that it's now the Lions division?
I came to that reality when I saw them beat us the last week of the season, week 18 last year. Rodgers and Cobb walking off the field. I was at that game, and I saw it with my own eyes. Saw it with my own eyes, and I said, "Yep, Lions are doing it next year. They're too good." I'm a huge Dan Campbell guy. I love his coaching style. So I came to that realization early, even before the year. So it's a little easier now. But the Vikings are on a roll. Vikings got super hot. But yeah, Lions are good. And it's their division. It's their division for the next few years. I'll accept it.
They are incredible to watch, man. It's when I watched them beat the Chiefs week 1, I'm like, I'm in. I'm in on that.
I said they're gonna do it. Everyone was like, "Oh no, you're crazy." I'm like, Dan Campbell has those boys fired up. I could promise you that.
I mean, he did, and it was kind of crazy because you heard it last year too. We were like, "Oh, this team's legit," and then they ended up obviously like kind of fluttering at the end a little bit. But this year's been legit, man. It's that team. If you don't look at that team and be like, they're not a legit Super Bowl contender, like I don't know what you're watching. But
I agree.
All right, so enough Lions football because I'm sure, you got to deal with that now. But at least it's not the Bears, right? But
right.
Yeah. So, and my second point to what you were saying earlier about Louisville is, our good friend Tyler Murray, who's the announcer for the Woo Sox, he said that Louisville was sneaky the number one visiting city that the Woo Sox traveled to this past year. There was so much to do there. Chad Tracy was talking it up quite a bit because they did like all sorts of stuff in Louisville when they went and played the Bats, the Reds AAA, and it was incredible there. So that's on my list of places I need to go now because of how much in the Louisville Slugger Factory and all that stuff. It seems incredible.
Yeah, I mean, it's a hidden gem. You know, and the cool thing about Louisville is there's no professional sports team. So obviously the Bats, like that's their MLB team. So everyone is, going to those games. It's a good atmosphere. And that's why athletics was so fun to play for and go to the games because that's their professional sports, right? There's no other team there. And so it was the University of Louisville and the Bats. And yeah, it's a beautiful city. It's nice. Not too big, not too small, a lot of stuff to do. I really enjoyed it.
All right. I have a random one here. So you ready for this? So you get in your car, right? And you have every single option at your disposal to drive through or to drive to and get. So you're going to go to a fast food fried chicken place. What is it?
Zaxby's.
Oh,
Alex Binelas has entered into the top 5 of my Red Sox prospect rankings. You have no freaking idea, man, how I have asked this question to about 30 plus people on this show this offseason. I have gotten Zaxby's like twice, maybe.
Oh, I
don't know, man.
Everyone is on my case about it because in spring training, I stayed at the hotel last year and not even a mile up the road was a Zaxby's, and I might have ate that 4 times a week.
Man.
4 times a week. Oh, it was unbelievable. I had to get it in because there's no Zaxby's, near me in Wisconsin, and there obviously wasn't any up in Portland. I was like, all right, I got to eat as much as I can while I'm here.
Oh, dude, it's that's incredible. Chris was waiting for you to say like Chick-fil-A or something. I'm like,
yeah, I feel like Andrew was like 0 for 18 at the plate. And he finally just got a little nubber that the third baseman couldn't go and feel right there. Because he tells everybody there's no wrong answer. And what I've been doing now is when he asks the question, I just look at the reaction on his face. And when it was Chick-fil-A, Popeyes,
Canes,
Chick-fil-A,
all that.
and just you can just see the just pain. I've never had Zaxby's. There isn't any as far as I know in the Northeast. I drove by them. I was in Atlanta a few years back for work for a little bit, and there was a ton of them down there, Bojangles and all that stuff. I'm not a big fast food person anyway, and I'm not a big fried chicken person. But you guys have talked up Zaxby's. Andrew's talked them up quite a bit. So.
Oh, you gotta have it. You gotta have it.
Gotta have it.
And the thing is, it's better than Cane's because you can get a chicken salad. It's not just chicken fingers and fries. Zaxby's has got it all. They got the sandwiches, whatever. But I just think it's the chicken and fries are better in general. And everyone doesn't believe me. I'm like, all right, I'm happy now. We played in Richmond, Virginia this year, and there was one there, and I Uber eated it every single night we were there.
Oh man,
I
don't blame you. Man, and you had teammates in Portland like Ryan Zephyrjon that would drive 45 minutes to go to a Chick-fil-A or something. I don't know what he was saying.
That kid's unbelievable. that kid is unbelievable. I miss that kid.
Yeah, we had him on earlier, and I asked that same question. He's like, "Oh, I gotta go Chick-fil-A just because I would drive 40 minutes to go get it." And did you ever? Now that actually leads me to another thing. Did you ever see Hunter Dobbins' pregame food ritual?
That I refuse to believe that was even real. What he was putting in his body before he pitched, and
so you did see it.
I saw it. Yeah, it's crazy. Our nutritionist got on him a little bit about it. I mean, she had to.
Dude, it was incredible. Grant Gamble spilled the beans on it. And he was like, this guy would drink 2 Dr. Peppers, I don't even know what he was putting in his mouth. And it's
I'm pretty sure we went to the mall somewhere. We were on the road somewhere. We all went to the mall and there was Dr. Pepper socks. And it was pretty close to the end of the year. He probably had 3 more starts left. And I'm pretty sure he wore those socks for the last 3 starts. That's crazy.
I don't know what all it was. I got to go back, but I remember I clipped it for him because I messaged him after Grant got off with us. I'm like, dude, do you really is this your pregame food routine is insane. It is.
Yeah. No, it's real. It's real. I don't remember exactly what it is, but I remember it was something crazy and a lot of Dr. Pepper.
Yeah. It's incredible. And then you also just went out and threw 7 strong like all the time. Like it's just like, how can you like knock it?
Right. 97 mile an hour heaters.
All right. Well, I got one more baseball related question. Empty a bench here, guys. We got any last things before I finish it off?
Yeah, I got one more. What would be your favorite baseball memory, whether it's from college or from the minors so far? If you could pick one.
Yeah. I would say playing in Omaha in the College World Series my freshman year at Louisville. That was pretty special. I went to the College World Series as a fan. As you can see, the posters behind me. I went there 3 times as a fan, growing up, like 10, 12, 14 years old. And my parents always say, oh, you're going to play here one day. And sure enough, 2019, we make it. It was just unreal experience playing in front of that atmosphere. We made it to the Final Four. It was 4 teams left, and when we lost, and we were winning there, we're having fun, and my favorite moment, like the most craziest moment, was actually when the ball bounced over my head and the winning run scored in the top of the 9th. Obviously, not my favorite, but like the most like craziest moment. It's like the ground was shaking. It was so loud when Vanderbilt scored, because everyone wanted Vanderbilt to win. Everyone's a Vanderbilt fan, and so 90% of the stadium was cheering for Vanderbilt. And when that ball went over my head, they scored the winning run in the top of the 9th. It was like I can literally feel the ground moving, and I'm like, all right, that's kind of cool, like that's crazy, And then obviously I start crying, 10 minutes later when we ended up losing and not scoring, but yeah, that was definitely my most favorite baseball memory. And just like we were being treated like, we're MLB All-Stars at the All-Star game. Everywhere we went, there was a police escort. You walk down the street, you're taking 30 pictures with kids and signing autographs. And, that was like my first experience of like signing autographs and whatnot. And it was pretty cool. And like I said, going there as a fan 3 times and watching, and have been in that stadium as a fan before, and then being able to play in it was pretty special. And we got some cool pictures of, from when I was 13, I think it was, me and my dad standing, watching a team warm up before the game down the left field line. And, in 2019, my dad went down the same spot when I was warming up at third base. And you got the picture, but I'm not next to him. I'm playing third base. And so that was pretty cool. And so that whole week was probably my favorite baseball memory.
Sometimes, man, that seems like it's just fate. It's just like,
it's crazy.
That was meant to be, man. It's was Steven Scott part of that Vandy team that beat you guys?
He was there. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Scotty hold you over that?
Yeah. We talk about it because he was my
Okay.
roommate. He was my roommate last year in Portland, and we would talk about it. Sometimes I'd just be like, shut up.
Steven Scott's one of my favorite guys that came through the door in Worcester, man. He was it seemed like sometimes that he was like, I don't know if I should talk to him right now, because he seems like he might want to like bash like somebody's head in or something, but he's just like so nice on the inside.
Yeah,
you're just like,
he's awesome.
Love
Great
Scotty,
kid.
man. All right, so my last question here before we send you off. You've given us a ton of your time, so we definitely appreciate that.
I got one. I want to sneak in 2 when you're done.
Okay, so say you have like, just give me like 2 things here on. You're at this spot a year from now. What are 2 of the top things that would be towards the top of your list that you would want to accomplish by this time next year for your next season?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, be in the big leagues or have, got up there at some point. Obviously, I feel like ever since I got drafted, it was like 2024 was, the year, like realistically the year where I could see the big leagues. And, all the work that I've been putting in, not just this offseason, but since I was like 12 years old. You think about that, once you realize, hey, like I want to do this one day. And that, for me, that was when I was 12. So I think obviously that goal remains the same, of getting to the big league somehow and fighting to stay there. I'd say that's number 1. And then, number 2, just being the best person, teammate that I can be, best player, person, just best Alex that I can be. And, whether that's, making sure I'm eating good, making sure I'm being a good teammate, making sure, my mind is in the right place, reading books, watching podcasts, all these little things, just bettering myself at every aspect that I can. So I think those are the two for me.
All right, Chris, you want to take us home?
Yeah. So there was one thing that I noticed, when I'm in Worcester and I'm in the clubhouse, I try to be super observant. You know what I mean? That way, we go to talk to you guys. Again, I like to try to bring things that's not the norm that you guys get asked a lot, probably like reporters and all that other stuff. I don't even consider my reporter either way, but whatever. But one thing I noticed is you guys, some of you guys have unique stuff in your lockers. So like David Hamilton would have his college baseball jersey in there. Jake Faria had a shirt that his grandfather wore to work for years. Do you have anything unique that you have in your locker, or something that you have that, that just kind of that for whatever reason you have it?
Yeah. I have a baseball cross, like 2 baseball bats that are a cross necklace that my mom had given me in high school. And, she got me a new one this year. So obviously I wear the new one, but I keep the old one. It's always hanging.
I think.
Oh no, we lost.
Oh yeah, we might have some technical difficulty.
Right at the good part.
It's okay.
Oh wait.
All right,
there it is.
We back?
We got you.
We're back.
We got
All
you.
right, there we go. So I got the old cross that always hangs in my locker, and I take it on the road with me, and I put it in my road locker, whatnot. I got like a little angel pin that my grandma had given me. I don't even know how long ago. It's like a baseball angel. That's always in my locker and road locker, whatever locker I'm in. And then this year, when I was struggling, I found a quarter in the outfield, and I'm like, all right, let's put it in my back pocket. I mean, I can't play any worse, right? So I pick it up, put it in my back pocket. I got like 2 hits that day. And like from that day on, I kind of started my hot streak. So I played with that quarter in my back pocket for the rest of the year. And then obviously I kept it in my locker, after the game and whatnot. So I'd say those 3.
I mean, sounds like a good trio to me. I think, I remember Jake Faria's was incredible. Like that was, his was just like almost like a tearjerker story. I was kind of like, holy cow. Like, it meant so much to him. It was hanging in his locker, and there was a few other guys that had some stuff too, but it's cool to find out like the meaning behind some of that stuff, like what you guys have. So,
yeah.
But Alex, you've given us a ton of your time tonight. We, thank you so much for hopping on, and, we're definitely hoping to see you in Worcester this year, and, probably be seeing you in spring training. So, definitely appreciate you hopping on.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it.